Hello and welcome to From a Basement in Tulsa. I'm Jason Ferguson, and this episode is brought to you by No Cover Tulsa. They sent Serious Stanley here to talk to us. What's up, man?
Not much.
And he's here
I'm
with-
excited to be here. This is awesome.
I'm so glad you're here. Patrick's here as well. Say hello, Mr.
What's
Patrick.
up? Does everybody know Patrick? Patrick's actually my partner. Patrick, thank you so much for being here. He's kind of my manager nowadays. So yeah.
Well, say hello, Patrick.
Hi.
Hi. How are you doing?
I'm good.
Well, tell me about yourself. I heard a little bit about your starting your music story when I went to see you at 209, and I think you said 5 years in you've been making this project and making all your music. And what's the process of that? Tell that story.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you so much for making it to the show. I think it was a really good show, and I got a lot of positive feedback from it. So yeah, 5 years of being Serious Stanley. Which is my alter ego / kind of my real life persona, because I'm kind of a bitch in real life. But we're allowed to cuss, right? This is a podcast.
Yeah,
so okay.
say whatever.
Okay, yeah. 5 years. Whenever I first started this idea, I was a freshman at the University of Tulsa. I was studying music composition. That was my major. And I remember one day I just kind of thought, well, what the hell? Like, why is there not a queer artist making music that is thought-provoking and kind of controversial in the same way? MIA has always been a really big influence to me, and I think that's kind of where I got the idea from, is that, people can talk about what they want to in music, but I never grew up having an artist that wanted to speak about the same things that I did. So
you became that artist. That's really cool.
I became the artist. It's definitely been a journey, as I told you. I think I remember the first time that I let my best friend listen to the first song I ever wrote as Serious Stanley, and the lyrics kind of went like, "I have a big dick and my name is Stan." It's kind of evolved from then, which is cool. But it kind of started out as like this weird avant-garde idea.
It's cool. I'm really glad. That's a cool story too. I like that. And how'd you meet your manager here? When did you come into the Serious Stanley project?
I was here long before Serious Stanley existed.
Oh, very good.
Oh,
No, it's a funny story that we actually met during the 2007 ice storm in Tulsa.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he lived with his parents. And
Stanley. He meant Stanley.
Yes,
Stanley.
Stanley lived
Nobody
with
knows my name.
Still lived with his parents at the time before Stanley came about. And they were without electricity, and I was without electricity at my house, and we both ended up at the same bar that happened to have electricity, and that was it.
See, I have even a more to me provoking story to that side of what Patrick says. I was actually driving to Sand Springs to my parents' house the night that the ice storm was happening, and I remember seeing transformers blowing up, and it just happened to be that Patrick was actually at those transformers that were blowing up. So I kind of consider it like this big, huge, universal zenith spark catalyst to our relationship.
I was a cable guy back in the day.
He works for Cox. That was always funny telling my mom.
Yeah. And I was up on the hills over Sand Springs, and they were right near me where limbs were falling and making these big green light flashes.
I didn't do anything near as fun during the ice storm, but we didn't have power. I lived at 25th and Harvard, some apartments over there, and my job didn't even have power. So I went to work the first day, and then they're just like, we'll call you and you can come back to work. So I had several days of just nothing and no heat. So I ended up getting a bunch of quarters and just spending a whole day on the bus. I ended up at the airport for a while and just just started jumping on buses and wherever it took me, and then came home at the end of the night.
That's cool.
Cool.
That's actually really funny. We're basically neighbors. I don't want to give our location away.
Over there.
We live over there by 25th and Harvard. I was actually just telling my friend, my coworker, how much I'd love to just ride the bus system in Tulsa one day. And she was like, you
buses.
need to, right, all four. She said, you need to have a destination in mind, or else you'll end up. And I was like, no, you just got to go with it. And people complain all the time about the public transportation in Tulsa. But, I've never ridden it, and it'd be kind of fun just to see what that life is like.
Maybe that's the problem. Maybe that's why it's no good.
Because nobody uses it.
It's as good as maybe it needs to be. Maybe there's not enough demand. I don't know. I'm not very familiar with it, but
I don't use it often.
Right, since 2007 ice storm.
Used it. Well, no, I used it for Center Universe Festival last year.
Oh,
Like we were
nice.
walking, we had a room at the Aloft Hotel, and we were like, oh, we'll just walk to the festival. And then we walked 2 blocks to the bus stop, and I was like, well, let's just take a bus. So we literally paid like $5, I think, to ride 3 blocks on a bus and get off and walk the rest of the way. And it was really silly to do, but walking is not my favorite thing to do.
I'm a runner, so I can't say that walking's not my favorite thing. I like walking. What did you think of the Center of the Universe Festival? I mean, it's a pretty, like, the first, as far as I'm concerned, the first major festival that Tulsa's had.
I had a lot of fun.
Since Edgefest. I mean, there hadn't been anything.
And then
big,
D-Fest was pretty big too, a couple of years previously. But I really like the people running it, and they're really professional about it, and I know they were really cool to us as a band, and I got to meet Ryan Tedder from One Republic. So that's pretty much
you just friended me on Facebook, and I was talking to you, obviously, and I saw that photo, and I was like, OMG.
He was such a cool guy. And so the first year of Center Universe Festival was probably one of my favorite things ever, just because of that. And it was cool that he was a friend of mine here, and Steven Speaks was in a band. They were in a band together when Ryan Tedder lived in Tulsa, so they're still friends. And they're both talking about what they're working on. And it was really cool to see somebody that's like mega famous, still really, really excited in like a childlike way about what's going on with his music. And he was talking about, we just went #1 in this country, and I'm so excited about what this album's doing. And I was like, whoa, that's really neat to see that he still loves doing his job and loves making music. And just like I was getting excited, my song just got accepted on iTunes. So like the same kind of excitement. And it was really, really cool.
Yeah. I mean, it's genuine. Now, Ryan, where is Ryan from?
He lived in Tulsa.
Right. Okay. That's what I thought. I didn't want to get incorrect, but, I mean, there's so many amazing things happening in Tulsa, and I feel like, that sometimes whenever people really get really big, who are from Oklahoma or kind of Tulsa specifically, honestly, there's not like enough local support for them. So I was really excited to see them the Center of the Universe bring them back and kind of remind people that, hey, like, you guys have a really famous artist right now, or artist or band doing really well. I think sometimes we kind of just need a reminder of that.
Yeah, and it was cool. He loved being like, because the main stage was right in front of Canes, and he's talked forever about Canes, and I'm like the biggest Canes fanboy there is. I think I love Canes so much. So I was like, yeah, talk about Canes, Ryan. And he's like, this festival is so awesome. I'm thinking about getting a loft back in Tulsa. And I was like, yeah, right, but that's still cool to say. And then, like, on his Instagram, he's posting pictures of like studios in Airstreams, driving along the beach, recording his album. I'm like, yeah, you're probably coming back to Tulsa. But
right, yeah. We'll see you soon. A boy can dream.
Come be my neighbor.
Right. I'd love to have him here in the basement. P.S. This is amazing. This basement, like, it's so legit.
It is.
It's so legit.
It is a certifiable basement.
It is a certifiable basement for people listening.
It comes with all the things that basements come with, like floors and walls. And windows, except for when you're staring out the window, it's really cool because it's like
grass.
Yeah, you're staring at ground level, which is really neat.
I'm sure there's like amazing acoustics in here.
I haven't really tested that, but we'll say yes.
Yes, amazing acoustics in the basement, of course. Yeah, like, so if you look out the window, whenever it's raining, I don't know, I'm kind of afraid of drowning, so maybe that's kind of like my greatest fear actually is drowning, so I don't know if I'd have a lot of anxiety in here.
I haven't drowned yet.
Okay, good.
So I think I'm moderately safe with that. But yeah, so let's go back to, I first heard about you, Lourdes with No Cover was telling me about you, and she said she was doing a write-up on it, and it was really mind-opening, I guess, or something that I wouldn't pay attention to, or something that I just wouldn't have thought about. I've never considered that. So tell me about that. Like,
yeah,
which is kind of the point of making that article. Like, yeah, you don't really think about stuff like that.
Yeah, I've known Lourdes actually for, oh my God, 3 years now, about 3 years now, and she's actually kind of been following me, and I've always told her, like, one day, like, it's going to work out to where, like, everything makes sense, and we're going to kind of, I'd love to do something for you, because she's been involved with several, I guess, music scene things here in Tulsa, and I really, have been trying to make an impression upon them. But yeah, it finally worked out here with the article recently. So the article was about visibility for queer artists. It's such a weird thing, I guess, being a queer artist, because like outside of myself, I don't see myself as a queer artist. I see myself as just an artist who makes music.
Yeah.
But the article was about really how we haven't had, how there's actually been a decline in the number of visible, really famous and really successful queer artists. And I think in the article I mentioned artists such as George Michael, Elton John, there's Culture Club, who were really big, 70s, 80s, and then kind of faded out. And there was kind of just this kind of absence. I don't think that I can really name like one major queer artist in the 90s that came out. Or who
came out in the 90s? Then you're
maybe not necessarily even came out in the 90s, but was even
Lance
like...
Bass.
Of course, that's exactly what I was going to say.
And that's
Lance
it, but
Bass.
that's so plastic.
But it is
so,
very plastic. So
you're not talking queer trailblazers. They're not there like they used to be. That's where you're going.
Yeah. So and it's weird to see, I guess, kind of the opposite. There's a decline in queer artists, but like a raise in visibility of queer rights. And I use the word queer for anybody who's listening.
I was going to ask.
Jason's kind of looking at me like,
because here in Oklahoma, queer is what somebody is before they punch you. So
I was going to ask, because when I read the article, I was like, I thought that was really offensive to say. Like,
well, within the LGBTQA community,
there's a lot of letters we've added on.
There's all of these acronyms, and we're finding that the word queer all encompasses anybody who's not of the gender or sexual norm.
Yeah, which is what the word means.
Absolutely.
So
because it means different, and that's what we are.
Yeah. So
it's funny. My mom actually, my parents are so supportive and have been supportive. I mean,
they come to every show.
I really can't imagine having parents who have not, seen me dress up in neon booty shorts and cowboy boots and talk about putting your dicks up. And so, I mean, I love my parents and they've supported me so much. But my mom did. She said, "Why do you have to use this word queer so much?" And it really is that it's kind of, and you mentioned American Bitch. You saw my show this past weekend, American Bitch. It's kind of whenever, I guess, disenfranchised. Yes, the excommunicated, I guess I should say. They kind of have to take words that are thrown at them and kind of make them empowering. There's bitch for females. There's faggot. There's queer for us gays. The N-word, which, I mean, honestly, I have said in a couple of my songs, but even I still feel a little awkward saying it. But yes, the N-word, it's kind of...
It is important to note that your father is black.
Well, my father's black.
So
yes,
he comes from a black family.
So I mean, I mean, not that gives me more of a right to say it, but...
it changes the context in which you use it.
It does. You kind of have to take those words that are thrown at you and make them kind of a sign of fellowship and brotherhood, which is why I used the word queer and kind of made it that zenith of the article. But yeah.
Thanks for explaining that.
We can say it.
Yeah.
How dare you if you say it? No. But I mean, even outside of the music, even writing articles like that, I wasn't one that always related to the term queer, because whenever I came out, whenever I was going through this situation, gay was kind of the thing. I think that it's kind of a terrible thing because you're called gay and you're just because you're different, you're kind of labeled a certain thing. I think queer is kind of more of an accepting derogatory term, if that's possible.
There's still a lot of discussion in the LGBT community about whether or not queer is the right word. So it does come down to a personal preference. You can talk to older gays, especially those from here in the Midwest, who absolutely hate the word.
I'm sure.
But it's just it's how you interpret it and how Stan.
Oh my God! If he gets my name wrong one more time, I'm divorcing him.
How Stan is using it in this context, and how I use it every day to identify our community as just a queer community, as a group of people who band together because they're different.
I like that. That's cool.
Yeah, but the article really was talking about how there's been a decline in I say queer artists. But a rise in the visibility of queer rights. And I just kind of thought that was kind of weird, you know? Like, I mean, you know, we have our prides all across the world. There's tons of queer / gay, lesbian, whatever you want to say, alternative bars in cities throughout the world. But for some reason, I just didn't understand why music, especially music, I mean, even just arts in general, haven't really been influenced by a queer musician, because God damn it, we've been writing music since the beginning of fucking time. I mean, Jesus, I'm pretty sure we're the first ones to pick up a flute and say, "Hey, bitches, listen." So,
And what's funny is the difference when you look right now on television. You can watch The Art of Drag in prime time on Logo, but where are the queer artists in prime time? You know,
Yeah.
and I don't know if it's that the artists aren't doing enough, or if it's that drag and the somewhat obscene or obnoxious is more entertaining. But yeah, why is that?
yeah.
I don't have an answer for you.
Damn it.
Okay, we're out of here.
But I do agree with like that question. I thought about it for a minute. I was like, whoa, where are they? And that's as far as I could get, which is probably as far as you guys can get too.
You've got Gaga singing "Born This Way," and you've got Macklemore and Ryan Lewis,
tons of
who are
advocates.
allies.
But whenever it actually comes down to supporting the one who's like, okay, I'm not saying you're born this way, but bitch, I was born this way. It's kind of it's weird. And I even brought this up with Patrick today. Because I was thinking about things, and why I don't know, why is that? Why is that my art, the point that I'm trying to make, the reason that or I guess the message I'm trying to bring across to people, they didn't want to listen to it in the first place. You know, whenever I talk about you're calling me a faggot, well, you know, I'm playing this in a bar with people who probably wouldn't call me a faggot, but
or identify as one.
So now, like, as an artist, my situation and my I guess kind of, I don't want to say struggle, but my next movement is, how do I get past that of,
how do you get out of the gay bar? Yeah. Basically.
I love how Patrick like simplifies things for me. I'm like, everything's so ethereal, and like there's this message, and he's like, no, how the hell do you get out of a gay bar?
I can see that, and I had a thought that it happens in I guess every kind of scene, but I guess every kind of other kind of scene has bigger venues for that. Like, how do you get out of a metal bar? Well, I mean, that happens, and then I don't know. Let's play a show together. That'll help it.
Oh my God. Booked. We are coming to you for all the answers.
Yeah, that's a start.
But I mean, it is true. You know, because I do what I do, and obviously I'm the type of artist that I am. I've never really thought of it as being like, how do you get out? If you're a metal artist, how do you get out of a metal bar? If you're a rap artist, how do you get out of a rap bar? I think that specifically in Tulsa, since I've started being Stanley, there's just kind of not really been a place to perform, period, outside of gay bars. I don't know if that's my own doing to myself, or if really it's not, there really hasn't, I don't know. Patrick, simplify this for me.
Well, it's easiest, first of all.
It is easier to perform in a gay bar. I mean, obviously, because I know I'm not going to be stoned to death.
Of course.
Which is, you know, safety is self-preservation is always first. But I have been lucky, though. I have to say, as an artist, I have been really lucky to perform recently venues outside of gay bars. I've done Raw Tulsa last year twice, which was absolutely phenomenal. I don't know if you're familiar. Yeah, you know, and even artists that I've followed that have kind of been underground for a while, I've been listening to their podcast, and they've talked about being in Raw shows, and it's kind of like a really awesome thing.
I looked at it skeptically at first, because there are businesses out there that they do this kind of thing, and like, you sell 500 tickets.
It's kind of like a music pyramid scheme.
Yeah, but
it's great exposure.
I believed they were different. When I went to the website, the artist gets a big, like, their own profile, and then they do other shows in other towns and kind of show trades, and it really is a pretty cool deal and instead of just a music kind of thing, they bring everything. They bring photography and all kinds of art and put it in one venue, and haven't played one yet, but it's really cool. I've been to a couple of the raw artist
You
shows,
totes
but
should.
it's been fun to as attending.
Yeah, I think that
I was thinking on this that it's important to note also that not only is it how do you get out of the gay bar, but even within the gay community, when we buy big talent, like for a Pride or something like that.
Oh, P.S. Patrick has been the Tulsa Pride director for the past 3 years, but that's beside the point.
Yes,
But
I
yes,
was
very proud of him.
So not speaking of Tulsa in particular, but within the gay community, if you look up who's performing at so and so's Pride this year, it's not the headliners typically aren't gay artists, and so there's this problem within our own community. And Eric Hyman wrote a piece. You're familiar with Eric?
Yes,
He's
of course.
Tulsan. Wrote a piece for, I don't remember if it was The Advocate, for a larger gay publication about where are our gay artists at our own events. So there's that too. When you look at World Pride, which is happening in Toronto in June, they've got Melissa Etheridge and this guy who's new to the scene, Steve Grand, country guy. But still, when you look at all of these prides across the country, for the most part, they're pulling in these old disco divas. In Oklahoma City this weekend, there's Taylor Dane and
'Cause there's
Martha
who
Wash.
was
So you're going to
between
get
them and
it's Raining Men,
now. Yeah.
and Tell It to My Heart from Taylor Dane. So neither one of those people identify as gay. So where are our artists?
Again, the unanswered questions.
This is just the questions.
And
This is the question.
I wouldn't think it's a talent thing. Obviously,
Oh, no,
there's
they're
talented
there.
people for sure.
They're there. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I told this to Patrick today too. It kind of all hit me like really recently in the past week with how well the show went over on Saturday. That whenever, and I will use generic terms here just to kind of get my point across, which I don't like to do, but whatevs. This is my podcast ish. Whenever gay males like buy tickets to shows, the artists that they are seeing are insanely famous. It's to me very disheartening to see such
Cher
a lack
comes to
of
town and
support.
everybody shits their pants.
Oh, everybody shits their pants.
And but
And I performed, and I'm not saying that I don't want everybody to like my music. I mean, well, yes, I do. That's a lie. Yes, I do. But more than anything, I just want people to support a message. Cher has been, obviously
she's been supported forever. Yeah.
has been supported for forever, but I mean, she's gonna die. Quite honestly, she's gonna die. And like, where are we? What are we doing to continue being visible?
There's been a new Cher in every generation of LGBTs. I mean,
Ooh, I want to know who your new shares are.
Okay, well,
So there's Cher, and then
there
who
was
was
Cher.
that? Don't say Madonna. There's got to be somebody between her and Madonna.
Well, before Cher, there was Liza Minnelli, and before that, there was Judy Garland. There's always been this female icon of the gay community, and so then you move on to Madonna, obviously, and then the '90s with the '80s Madonna, and into the '90s,
Can we talk about
there was
Britney
certainly
Spears?
Britney Spears, and now there's Gaga, and who's next? Maybe it should be Stanley. Maybe you should
I'm just
replace
saying.
them.
I'm just saying.
You're willing to do that job.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh God.
somebody
Oh,
has
God,
to.
yes.
Somebody has to step up.
to. I mean, That's
If
very
you
funny.
have to, you'll be famous.
Well, I mean, if you guys
called
just
upon.
call upon me. That's so funny.
There's a void. No, I mean, what's next? Miley? I don't know.
Oh, good question. Though, love Miley Cyrus. So wait, I want to change the tables. Turn the tables. I want to turn the tables. Jason, I actually don't know that much about you. This is really our first time kind of sitting down and being able to talk. So this might be like an insanely hard question, but who are your top 3 musical favorites?
right now,
Artist or band?
I think I'm
Ooh,
still
right now, of all time.
This is a really cop out way of doing it, but I really don't have favorites
Okay.
a lot of the time.
You
It
hipster.
comes down to even colors, and then, like, what's your favorite color? I guess it's blue, but it really doesn't.
Says the
make
man
me-
wearing the blue shirt.
Yeah, but growing up, my favorite bands were always like smaller bands. It sounds really hipster now that you point that out, but I just listened to smaller stuff. So I never really got into the bigger bands until probably like 19 or 20. But I'll say my favorite songwriters right now is where I'll keep it is actually a country guy named Jamie Johnson. He writes like really beautiful songs, and I think one of his songs saved my ambition. One night I was driving home from a gig I had to be at work at 5 o'clock the next morning. It was like 3 in the morning, still driving back. And like his song came on talking about why he writes songs. And I was like, all right, I can keep doing this. This is cool. Like, he talks about playing in bars and seeing a man cry because of the song meant so much to him. And I was like, okay. So I think, and also on the other side, another favorite songwriter is Ryan Tedder, because that dude writes songs for everybody. It's insane.
Oh God, the royalties on that are ridiculous.
Just and the talent to be able to do that. I can write like one song a year, and he's writing 10 platinum albums a year. So
multi-genre for sure.
But it's in a less meaning kind of way. Like the meaningful songs are songs like what Jamie Johnson writes about, just drawing a picture in a song and taking something super simple and making it really, really beautiful. One of them, he sings, and it's like kind of silly, but he sings about 2 guitars sitting at a pawn shop, and the guitars are telling each other their story. And one guitar played in a bunch of smoky bars the whole time, and one guitar was with a bunch of famous acts. And I was like, how can that dude make me picture that just by singing a 3-minute song?
Right, yeah, that's awesome. That's
I think
artistry.
My favorite band right now is a band called Need to Breathe, just because I've loved them for a really, really long time. They bring some rock, and it's cool. At first I hated them, which is weird. So my friends really loved them, and they were playing with another friend of mine, like that. I just went to see them, and then Need to Breathe was the headliner of that show, and there was like 12 people in Claremore. And then like 5 years later, they're touring with Taylor Swift and playing Be Okay, and now they come back and they play Brady every time they're around here. And it's like, that's cool to me too, to even though I didn't really like them as much back then, to have met them back then and see them grow up real big, which is what is about to happen to Sirius Stanley, correct? In 5 years, I'll be like, man, that guy was on my podcast, and now I'm paying $200 to see him at Be Okay.
Well, we can only hope.
I hope that for you.
That's funny. I think that some of my favorite artists, actually, like I can name 2 specifically of my all-time favorite artists now, that the first time I saw them or even listened to them, I was like, these bitches are crazy as hell. They're so crazy. Those 2 specifically being Bjork and Tori Amos. I remember seeing, actually, I think I saw both their videos first before I ever actually tried to listen to their music. And, I think that kind of says something about the genius of artistry, is that sometimes like it's just not well received. It's something that takes time to set in a world that's conditioned to like songs that are 3 minutes long and that are played every 17 minutes, the same damn song. Sometimes it just takes a little bit more to really take in depth of or take into yourself what is being said to you. And then
of course the whole thing is that the industry puts out into the radio world what they want us to hear. So if I share, I'm sorry, guys.
Oh my God.
Stan
edit.
Stan and I share a favorite with Kesha, surprisingly. And so everybody thinks of Kesha as this dirty party girl. But when you get off of what's on the radio, there are these amazingly deep, like, ballads that she does that people don't even know about. So
yeah,
it's the weirdest thing.
I never even thought about Kesha. I mean, I'm just saying, I'm not wearing my boots today, but actually my cowboy boots are kind of a staple of Sirius Stanley's wardrobe. They still have glitter in them from the Kesha show that I saw 3 years ago, I think.
Nice.
I wouldn't let him in the house. I hosed him down.
No, we were literally coming here, and Patrick was like, "Why is there glitter on the floor?" And I was like, "I have no idea. I've just been cleaning the house." It's interesting to try to tap into the pop culture. Especially again, this past show that I just did Saturday, which ranks above like one of the best that I think I've ever done, even though it was kind of like more stripped down and more intimate.
Who was playing guitar for you? She was so good.
Oh, I'm so glad you asked about her name. Her name is Deb Starnes. She's one half of a local band, which I suggest everybody go see. Their name is Chasing Nadine. They actually have a show at Club 209 on, I believe it's Friday, July 13th. I would definitely recommend everybody go see them.
Me too. She was really, really good.
Yeah. I don't think that I could have picked a better person to collaborate with for the first time on all my music, which I said at the show. She's the first person that I've ever let like even look at my music and like kind of like try to interpret it in their own way. She did amazing.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I'm glad that everybody loved her, and that ties into talking about Kesha, and there's what's portrayed, and there's also an artist. I had people asking me that night about kind of like the slower songs that I did that Deb was kind of featured on, and honestly, I'm not to brag, but I had a couple people come up to me crying, and they said, those songs are like what we're kind of like, we loved seeing that opposite side of you. And as an artist, it's kind of hard to, like it's weird to be singing about being in love and having heartbreak, and then also being trying to like be really poppy and really hard and like upfront with things.
But that's the same thing as the Kesha discussion. So
right.
the same album as TikTok.
Well, she's a lucky bitch, and her mom also wrote songs for Dolly Parton.
Absolutely.
So.
But and we were talking about this on the car ride home from that show, and I said it can be done. Absolutely. I mean, people do acoustic stuff all the time mixed in with the stuff that makes it to the radio. So what's weird is that the acoustic stuff doesn't make it to the radio.
So true. So unfortunate.
Yeah, I got so negative. I'm so negative today.
Did you know I was an acoustic artist? Thanks. I'm just kidding.
Wow.
I'm just kidding.
Okay, so first of all,
I'm just kidding. But I do want to hear more about, because you talked about the President's song, and you like, one of my favorite things to do is just take something, chop it up, and next thing you know, I'm singing it. I want to hear about that process because you do everything, or most everything on your album. At least, right?
That's everything. That's one thing he doesn't sell enough. Like he doesn't say, not only did I write this, but I recorded it and mastered it and produced it all by myself, and that's quite a bit of work.
Yeah. So tell me that process. That's forgotten sometimes. I think that all the work that is, and I want to hear how you do it.
Yeah,
what got you started?
How do I do it? Well, honestly, I have no fucking idea how I do it.
I just push some buttons and
just push some buttons and hope that something records right. So specifically, well, thank you, Patrick. Patrick's kind of been the rock through all of this. Whenever I go and I'm like, I have to go work on music and lock myself into the bedroom until like
days.
Yeah.
I come in and find an empty box of wine and a CD that's finished.
A couple of empty boxes of wine, and yes, maybe one CD. So the song President, which I gave you the CD, which I hope you'll check it out.
Man, I'm so honored to have this.
Oh my God. Yeah, guys. Jason has
copy.
the first copy like ever of this song or this CD, this whole CD, DurrtyTalk, which is my next album.
And it comes out in the next month or so?
I'm hoping next month. I want to do a CD release party. So it may be August, but hopefully in the next 2 months for sure.
So end of summer.
End of summer. Yes. That's what we're shooting for. So the song President, I went to TU for a music composition degree, but I found that whenever I got there, I never really listened to classical music growing up. My dad always just had kind of the oldie station on there, and my dad always listens to the oldie station, and I'm kind of surprised that doesn't really come up more in my music now. Kind of doo-wop, Motown type things. I love listening to that, but I was kind of more interested in smoking weed and kind of listening to really trancey, out of this world type things, and I kind of found my heart as at least a composer in the classical. I say classical, more academic sense of tape music. There's artists that Terry Riley, John Cage, that would take literally whenever you were able to really record things on wheels of actual magnetic tape, would take those things and cut them up and do all these distortions and even simple things like delay and things that were really like beyond their world. I loved listening to that. And so I would always go to the McFarland Library at TU and just find tons of CDs to just take samples. It's like the modern day like DJing, you know? We have all these audio samples at our disposal. And I just really wanted to take advantage of that. So
I remember the day he found his library card. It was like the first time, and there was like throat singing or some weird,
There was Icelandic throat singing, yes. Yes, there was, which to this day is still one of my favorites.
Can you give us an example?
I can't. I haven't practiced too much. I can point you to an album, though, Bjork's Medulla album, which was actually recorded all by using sounds of just the human body.
Wow.
Oh God, an amazing, amazing album. I suggest check out Where's the Line with You. But yes, so throat singing. Anyways, going to the library, I found a CD that had, and I said this at the show, that had all of these presidential speeches recorded, which I didn't think really existed. And I knew that one day I was going to use them for a song, and that ended up being this song called President on the album. And me as an artist, I started out kind of actually writing poetry, and so I'm really influenced by words, and all of the song titles on all of my CDs are really, actually, I try to make them very visually appealing and thought-provoking. So President is actually spelled P-R-E $, lowercase I, parentheses, capital D-E-N-T. So it's kind of like this, the dent that the president makes, or what you think that he makes or doesn't make. I don't care your opinion. I love our president. But regardless, you know, everybody has their own opinion. So it's kind of this whole, I guess, play on words of what the president or the government dents in your life. And yes, I performed that at the show on Saturday. I don't know if that answered your question, but that was a really fun story to tell.
Yeah, but it was about the process of making the music itself.
Sure. You know, a lot of what I do, again, starts with usually a song title, honestly. President. Luckily for the song, I was able to have kind of a sample from the CDs that I had. God, my songwriting process.
I think Patrick actually answered it. It's just a couple boxes of wine and then magical
See how
CD.
he simplifies things for
It's
me?
a box of wine, a dry erase marker, at an old disposed mirror that came from the university, probably.
Yes.
There are mirrors and pieces of plexiglass all over his music room
I
that
love-
have a constant stream of lyrics being scribbled on them.
I love writing on mirrors because to me, I can see what I'm writing, but at the same time, I can see behind me, which to me is very influential as part of the entire life that I've had that's led up to that moment of me writing onto the mirror. It's very influential to me. I love that process. So yes, there's like 15 mirrors in my music room, a couple boxes of wine, empty wine glasses,
A giant inflatable penis.
a giant inflatable penis, a picture of Kesha and Bjork, and
A Britney Spears stash box.
a Britney Spears stash box, which unfortunately currently has nothing in it. God. But the songwriting process really is, with this album, it was a lot different, I think, with DurrtyTalk. I've written 4 albums under Serious Stanley. The first one was Serious Delirious. The second one was Baddest Bitch. The third one was Future Love, which is on iTunes and all those other social media platforms. And this new one, DurrtyTalk. With DurrtyTalk, it was really different, actually. I had a lot of fun recording this one because I knew I wanted my subject matter to be different. With this one, I've done the whole like gay rapper thing and trying to be like the male version of Britney Spears and be ultra sexy, which one time it did not happen very well. I humped my piano off of its stand.
He did. And there's on my Instagram, there's a good picture of the piano half on the floor, half on the stand, and him still playing.
Britney would not give up. I'm just saying. Yeah, with this album, it was very different. I knew that the subject matter had to be different, and you know, I literally do. I really just cage myself into that room and write down my thoughts and record it, master it. And I think that's sometimes why it takes so long for an album to actually come out, because I mean, you know, I work my full-time jobs and everything, but at the end of the day, I come home and try to get this shit done, to have a message to say.
Understand.
And he doesn't stop. He doesn't let it go. Like, you know, there's always an imperfection in everyone's art. There's always
not
a bad
mine.
brush stroke or but he just constantly and continuously tweaks. And I just have to say, just let it go. Just stop. It's good.
Well, I think you can relate to that.
Absolutely.
I mean, yeah, you wanted to, you get one chance for something that, not to say that anything I've made will ever come big, but fingers crossed that it will become big. But you get this one chance for hopefully millions of people to hear it, and you want it to be
Perfect.
yeah. You want it to be perfect, which I don't know. Nobody can see what I'm wearing, but I'm wearing a shirt that says perfect, which is completely contradictory of my life, but that's okay.
all I could think about was when you were talking about that. As after being in the studio and learning what auto-tune does and how it's supposed to work. I mean, my producer was doing that, but after hearing what he was working on, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna add some auto-tune to this guy's voice," and then I'll hear it now, like in there's a specific country song that's on all the time at work, and I can hear this tough country dude singing, and I can hear the little bit of a slip of auto-tune that lets me know it's
Which
there.
song is it?
I can't even think of it. I just know the notes because they haunt me. And, and I like try pointing it out. Like, no, everybody else that's never really seen the difference, just like, no, that sounds normal to me. But I can hear that little blurb, the E, and I was like,
Sure.
I remember the first time I heard auto-tune. Cher's Believe. Do you remember that?
If you can't tell, he's an old gay.
No, seriously. Like, I remember hearing
No,
it. I'm
yeah.
like, she can't do that with her voice. What the hell is this?
No, yeah. I actually appreciate you guys saying that, I don't really give enough attention to the fact that, I do record all of it, and literally have had really nobody really teach me anything as far as mastering. I mean, if people, think they're tipping me $1 at performing at a gay bar and think that they're paying for all of this, like it's learning how to master is just like a complete field of its own, besides the whole music, besides all of these other fields of it. I guess it's pretty tough, but I really enjoy it. So I guess I don't complain about it, really. I really enjoy it, and I enjoy drinking wine. So it
so perfect. Yeah, I don't know a thing about mastering.
Oh.
I don't like. I paid somebody to do that. Steven Speaks. I don't know if you know that guy.
Yes.
He recorded my album, which came out a year ago yesterday. Actually,
Congratulations.
Happy anniversary.
Oh, thank you. And it was fun. Well, the CD release party was a year ago yesterday, but yeah, he did all that, and he's really, really good at it. So props to him.
Hey, Steven, if you're listening to this right now, Serious Stanley would like to get in contact with you.
I'll give you his number, and I promise he'll make you a good deal.
Yes. I've been listening to you. Good job. I actually enjoy it a lot. I noticed I've been listening to the podcast, and I noticed you've worked with Bo Tyler from We the Ghost.
Yes.
They've kind of blown up.
Yeah, they're doing well.
How crazy.
They're a bunch of good people.
Oh, yeah. Jimmy Dean Adams, I think, was my first friend out of that whole group of people. Yeah. We worked with him on an Eric Hyman set.
He did one of the songs on the album.
Oh, he did? Okay.
We co-wrote it together, and I like it. And he sings a part on it on the album, so now when I'm like playing acoustic, the crowd sometimes will sing the whoa-oh-ohs he does, and every time it happens, it still catches me off guard because I'll be singing, and all of a sudden a few people are whoa,
right,
and then like I probably laugh every time, like, oh yeah, that is there, because I don't really hear it often,
right?
But yeah, he's a good dude.
Sure. Yeah. I guess talking about Eric Hyman, if this is like a good segue, I don't know. I remember. So if for those of you who don't know Eric Hyman, he is an amazing local artist here from Tulsa, who has had kind of a pretty badass career, I would say. For is he still independent? He's not signed.
Yeah. His Thorn Crown is his own label.
Yeah. He's done an amazing job, and I remember whenever we got dial-up Earthlink internet at my parents' house, sneaking onto gay.com, and he was actually on the front page, and I remember saying to myself, oh shit, there's this gay artist in Tulsa that's like doing this really badass thing, and now fast forward 15 years after going through TU and kind of perchance meeting him and having worked on a couple of his shows, it's interesting to see the dynamics of queer artist in Tulsa, because Eric is kind of like the complete 360 of what I do. Yeah. He's doing so well though, and that kind of taps into the whole like what's popular, what's not, like what's making a message, what and oh god, don't think that I'm like dissing Eric in any way. His message is complete like solidified in truth, and he writes amazing music, but it's interesting to see like what gets popular and what takes a while to really catch on. And he's been in the game for 15 years now. It's taken a while, but
I think he's doing pretty good. He was actually recording his album at the same time I was, so
oh really?
He'd be there during the day, then I would come in after into the same studio, and I would always be like, let me hear what's going on. What's up? And he never would let me because I guess it's really rude to hear somebody's music
of course.
in the middle of it. So, but that album, I think it's called Red album, or at least one of the songs on there is.
Yes.
It's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, he's kind of a big deal. He's definitely kind of a big deal. I just want to mention what you said about hearing artists work in the middle of the whole process. Patrick, now you understand why I don't let you into that room whenever I'm making music.
I can hear it through the walls, but I'm not allowed to hear it officially.
No, of course not.
You can't actually see the wavelengths on the computer.
Right.
Just,
You can't see like the automation where it's auto-tuned or whatnot.
Right.
You can't. No, none of that. I hope that there's more, regardless of if what I do becomes, I don't want to say mainstream or accepted, but again, going back to the article, very visible. I think that as queer artists, not to kind of put ourselves in like camps against everybody else, but we kind of have to stick together, and luckily we're really fucking talented. So luckily we have a lot of room to help each other out. And he's helped me out, and I hope that in what I do in the future, I can help other artists out in Tulsa as well.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I think that's the same with everybody too. Everybody in Tulsa is always trying to help each other out, and I like that. Yeah.
I think. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I call it gaying it forward.
Perfect.
Even if you're not gay, you can gay it forward. Yeah, the music scene in Tulsa's kind of blown up recently with the whole resurgence downtown. It's been pretty amazing.
Downtown got huge the past
oh my
couple
God.
years, huh?
Oh my God.
We were talking about it the
ridiculous.
other night, and I was like, remember when you used to just be able to park wherever you wanted?
Yeah.
Right, yeah. And now you can't find a parking place anywhere.
I remember being kind of angry when they put the bike racks in front of everywhere in Brady, because I always parked there when I was unloading my sound at Hunt Club. I was like, man, why are they putting these bike racks there? And now that I ride my bike downtown, it kind of came back at me. It's like, oh man, I'm so glad this bike
helps.
rack's here. But yeah, it got big fast, I think. Or maybe, I don't know how often other towns blow up like that, but
I don't well, I have really no other
no other point of reference.
yeah, I
for
really
the
don't,
speed.
because I lived in Tulsa my entire life, but I feel like maybe it's kind of uncommon because well, that's just what I think. I think it's kind of uncommon for towns like this to kind of blow up the way it did, and
We were set up, though, for success in a few ways. I mean, there was kind of a blank canvas there, and there was a lot of room to grow. And then with what the vision plans for the BOK Center and the baseball stadium kind of squeezed that area all into being something that it wasn't before. And good luck for Spaghetti Warehouse. The weirdest thing, that place has been there since as long as I can remember. And you're like, God, we gotta go to Spaghetti Warehouse. It's in the middle of nowhere. And now,
wow, and Gypsy too.
the Gypsy
love
Cafe has been
Gypsy.
there forever. Yeah,
And I'm just really glad they're right there in the middle of it now. Hopefully
have you played there a lot?
I used to play there every Tuesday. That was like that was my first thing. I played every open mic for probably a year. So yeah, and I love that place. So it was cool to see now he's right across the street from Guthrie Green, and I'm like, yeah, go Gypsy.
yeah, isn't that cool? The
He has
Guthrie Green is so cool. They turned that shitty little block of nothing into a backyard.
Yeah. And Brad from Gypsy has a bunch of cool stories about Tulsa in like probably the 90s or whatever. Just, I don't know.
Oh, the 90s.
I wasn't around in Tulsa, but yeah. So tell me what to expect from Dirty Talk. What are you most excited about this album to do, or your favorite song, or the favorite message?
Favorite song, favorite message, what I want it to do. So, the beginning track of Dirty Talk is actually an intro. It's a short, like 1 minute and 30-second long intro. And it takes the police phone call from George Zimmerman's call to the police about Trayvon Martin. And honestly, that was kind of like a catalyst, as well as things that were going on in my own life. It was kind of a catalyst to see these things that were going on that in my life at least that I didn't consider very fair. So yeah, it goes back to being like kind of avant-garde and taking tape things and screwing it up, and I kind of messed it up. And then it goes into this song called Baghdad Battery, which was the first song that I wrote for the album, which I think sets the mood for the album pretty well. Of course, it evolves from there. The message about Dirty Talk, it's funny because the song, at least the idea of Dirty Talk kind of came from the whole idea of being a gay rapper and like being like, I'm gonna be dirty and like be super sexual or like hypersexual and be like talking dirty, but it actually took this weird turn of being very political. So the message really is,
there was kind of a long string of events that led up to the beginning of this. It started last summer, I think. We went to the Center of the Universe Festival.
And I hate telling the story because it kind of makes me upset. But
it's not the fault of anybody at the Center of the Universe Festival. The problem is that a big festival like that sometimes brings, we love the Brady District, and it's so cool and it's so hip. And on any given day in the Brady District, we feel 100% welcome. Then you bring in a big music festival, and every douchebag in Oklahoma decides it's time to go downtown and poke fun at the queers. So we experienced quite a bit of discrimination, unfortunately, in about an hour and a half time there. So it really kind of sucked. And then we went to the fair. We walk to the fair every year, go to the fair, and get called faggot on the way back, just walking home. Just in a crowd of people standing waiting to cross the sidewalk, So there was these several times in which I'm on the calm one, and I'm like, yeah, this dude feels like he's got a big dick now because he called somebody a faggot,
and
he's
had
ready
a box
to punch
of wine
somebody in the face. And so I'm always the calm one, and I'm like, what good's that going to do? And he's ready to punch somebody, and he took that into his music and is punching back with the music.
Yeah, it's really just, I think about exposing the realities of the society that we live in. I say we. I don't care who you are. I believe that all of us have experienced some sort of discrimination in their life. I don't care if you're white, you're black, you're gay, you're straight, you're tall, you're short. It's just kind of the universe and the situation that we live in. But it's kind of exposing that and being very upfront and kind of saying, you know what, I'm not going to deal with it. I'm not going to deal with it. I would say that my favorite song off the album, if I don't want to like say it, but because I love all of them so much, and I've spent, they're all my little children. But really recently, American Bitch.
That was my favorite song to watch you perform. It
Yeah.
was fun. Can we play it on the podcast? Can I
Oh
just throw it at
God,
the
of
end?
course,
That'd be
of course.
Cool.
I would love you to. Yeah. And that I think that song, after writing 11 songs, I finally got to the point of the message of the album with that song. Sometimes it takes a while to like try to get what you're saying to actually come across very well. But yeah, there's the lyric in that song that says, this American bitch is calling me a faggot, but I'll be goddamned if I'm staying in a country with this. In a way, Dirty Talk is even kind of a disappointment with America, which is hard for me to say. It's definitely hard for me to say.
There's this whole thing about, it seems like in Oklahoma, and it's something that we experience. And so he does this with music, and I do this with activism. But there's this terrible thing that Oklahomans have done to other Oklahomans and making them feel unwelcome for whatever reason. And this happens in every place, I'm sure. But I don't know. You tell these kids that they're not welcome here, and then they leave, and we lose all this incredible talent. So anybody who's different, you've heard, and you look at the comments on the news stories, and you see, why don't you guys just go, to somewhere else, be somewhere else. If you don't like it, you can leave. And that's the mentality of Americans sometimes too. If you don't like America, get the fuck out. Well, why not be here and change it?
God, yeah. See, Patrick
simplifies
things for me so well.
Break it down.
We want these talented people here.
Absolutely, and it's the problem not only in the arts communities, but I mean, we need smart, innovative thinkers in Oklahoma to make Oklahoma better in all ways. Not just have a killer music scene, but we need smart people to be the future of Oklahoma. So there are a lot of kids who are raised and think that the first thing they're going to do is get out of here. And I think that you see that same mentality in lots of other places, but people fantasize about how wonderful Portland would be, or and or Seattle, or I've got to move to New York City. Well, don't move to New York City. Stay here and make Tulsa even better. And that's what we're trying to do. That's what I'm trying to do in my life, and that's what Stan's doing with his music.
He got my name right.
Oh,
Of course, I did.
So yeah, that's what I'm trying to do is just change things. And I know that I can't change everybody's opinion, but if I can just at least make somebody stop and think about what they call me on the side of the street, then maybe I've done something
better.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. It's Patrick selfieing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
Snapchatting back.
Oh my God.
Well, where can listeners that don't know about you find your music? Or
you can check out www.seriousstanley.com. That will lead you to all of the links, my SoundCloud, my Bandcamp. I really do pay a lot of attention to Facebook, which there are links on there to get there as well. You can also buy my previous album, Future Love, on iTunes, and like I said, as well as Rhapsody or Amazon or Spotify.
and it was only $10 for 16 songs, which is a bargain.
So
which
deal
is
it twice
a
the
bargain.
price, really.
Yay. I'm so excited that you...
We left the show, and like as I was walking out of 209, I was like, I gotta see if this is on iTunes.
Yay.
And so we listened to it on the mile drive back to my house.
Yay.
But yeah, and if they want to see the article that we've talked about probably 1,000 times throughout this hour, is it's nocovertulsa.com, and it's thoughts from a creative mind, Serious Stanley, and it's a real cool thought from obviously a creative mind. So thanks a lot for you guys for coming. Anything you'd like to say, Patrick, to the listeners?
I feel like Terry Gross.
Who's Terry Gross?
NPR.
Of course.
Or those Saturday Night Live skits, the delicious dish.
As much of an activist as I want to be, and I don't listen to NPR.
I just feel very podcasty right now.
Actually, and I was looking up old pictures of canes to find some with these chairs that I bought.
Oh, right. Which, I forgot to mention that. I'm sitting in history, guys.
Yeah, but what was weird is I found it. I just searched Kane's ballroom pictures and went a while, but then I found a picture of me playing at Kane's, and somehow it linked to some weird NPR article.
Shut up. No way.
It took me like NPR.com, a picture of myself, and it was about a Tulsa mom talking about raising, it was difficulty for adoptive moms and Mother's Day article. And I never found my picture on the website, but it was just weird to like, why is my picture linking to...
You're like famous and you don't even know it.
But yeah, well, thank you guys so much for coming in and talking with me. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you so much for having us. I really appreciate it. It's kind of a really big step for me.
I really enjoyed your show Friday, and also had a really great time at Pride. So good job for you. Thanks for doing that and making it awesome.
That's great. And your next show.
Yeah.
My next show.
There's going to be another collaboration with Deb Starnes from Chasing Nadine.
From Chasing Nadine, yes. A wonderful guitar player. God, she did so fucking good.
Probably a little more highlighting her skills. She's an amazing, technically amazing guitar player.
Yeah.
So,
and she did such good interpretations.
Yeah. So Deb and Stan have a show on the 25th of July at
the 25th
Eagle,
the 25th of July at the Tulsa Eagle,
which is the gay leather bar. So put on your leather.
All right.
You don't have to wear leather, but
you don't have to wear leather. Thing. And I just want to clear a rumor that...
But if you have a chance to wear leather, why?
Yeah, right. I mean, if it's been in your closet and you needed a reason to pull it out, this is the chance.
This is the time.
One of my favorite Tori Amos songs is called Leather. But I just want to clarify. I have people ask me all the time, oh my God, can I come to your show? It's at a gay bar.
Duh.
It's not a gay bar. It's gay because we're there. Everybody is welcome.
I mean, the BOK Center is a gay bar when Cher comes to town.
Well, yes. Yes. Right. So don't be afraid and just come out and see an amazing show and appreciate the music. Yeah. Forget about the gay. Remember the music.
You're just going to a show.
You're just going to a show. That just, everybody happens to be wearing leather.
Or some of them.
Perfect. Well, thanks again, guys, and I'll see you soon. Thanks for everything. And this will be listed from basementintulsa.com, and you can find it on iTunes. If you're just streaming on the website and want to listen to it again, it'll be on iTunes and Google Play and all that crazy stuff. Awesome. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you soon.
They wanna pay me, then they shoot me. Wanna rape me, then they boo me. Got my split personalities, they call me the groupie. And this American bitch is waving flag at your tits. It's time to turn this generation from the ditch we are in. They wanna praise me, then they loot me. Wanna tape it up and boot me. Got my bubbly, and now they wanna call me the bougie. And this American bitch is calling me a faggot. Well, I'll be goddamned if I'm staying in a country with this. Cause it's some bullshit. When I walk down the street, they wanna pull shit. Yo, it's some bullshit. When I walk down the street, they wanna pull dick. Yo, it's some bullshit. When I walk down the street, they wanna pull shit. Yo, this some bullshit. When I walk down the street, they wanna pull dick. American bitch, American bitch, American bitch, don't you wanna get with this? American bitch, American bitch, American bitch, love how you really wanna get with this. American bitch, American bitch, American bitch, don't you wanna get with this? American bitch, American bitch, American bitch, love how you really wanna get with this. They wanna play me, then they hate me. Wanna tape it up and crate me. Got my split personalities, they call me the crazy. And this American bitch just ain't having none of it. It's time to turn this thing around. They wanna build a new crowd. They wanna praise me, then they loot me. Wanna tape it up and boot me. Got my bubblies, and now they wanna call me the bougie. And this American bitch is more than just a faggot. And I'll be goddamned if I'm staying in a country with this. Cause it's some bullshit. When I walk down the street, they wanna pull shit. Yo, it's some bullshit. When I walk down the street, they wanna pull dick. Yo, it's some bullshit. When I walk down the street, they wanna pull shit. Yo, this some bullshit. When I walk down the street, they wanna pull dick. American bitch, American bitch, American bitch, don't you wanna get with this? American bitch, American bitch, American bitch, love how you really wanna get with this. American bitch, American bitch, American bitch, don't you wanna get with this? American bitch, American bitch, American bitch, love how you really wanna get with this. Get with this, don't you wanna get with this? Get with this, get with this, don't you really wanna get with this? Get with this, don't you wanna get with this? Get with this, don't you really wanna get with American bitch, American bitch, American bitch, don't you wanna get with this? American bitch, American bitch, American